the 10 dirtiest countries in the world. India is only ranked second. In the first place, women defecate and urinate on the streets. The capital can be called the cesspool of the earth. Have you seen a country where 1,500 people share one toilet? The streets are so filthy that there's no place to step. Have you seen vast fields ruined by oil worse than Chernobyl, where not even a blade of grass can grow? The people there can't even meet the most basic survival needs. The world is vast and full of wonders. Today, let's take a look together at the 10 dirtiest countries in the world. Just before we jumpstart, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Number 10. Peru. Peru is the legendary land of gold. It is also one of the most divided countries in the world. On one hand, Peru has nearly preserved perfectly its primeval forests and mountain canyons. On the other hand, Peru is also one of the countries in the world most severely polluted by the metallurgical industry. As a major global exporter of mineral resources, almost the entire country of Peru relies on metal trading for livelihood. However, long-term metal smelting activities have caused severe environmental pollution. The entire Peru has been more or less affected by the pollution caused by outdated metallurgical technology. One of the most polluted cities in the world, La Roya, is located here. Taking La Roya as an example, this city has had a copper smelter since 1922, followed by the establishment of lead and zinc refineries. The toxic gases released by these smelters and heavy metals such as lead, copper, and zinc severely pollute the air, water sources, and soil. They pose extremely serious harm to the health of local residents. According to research, 99% of children living near La Roya have lead levels in their blood exceeding the safety limit. Although other areas are not as severely affected as La Roya, the problem still exists. This makes Peru one of the countries with the most severe child health issues without exception. Faced with this situation, the Peruvian government has certainly thought about changing the status quo. However, much of the mining in Peru is neither state-owned nor legally private, but rather illegal mining. The law cannot control these illegal miners at all. Long-term illegal mining has led to severe damage to Peru's air, water, and soil environments. Wastewater generated from metal smelting and mining activities is discharged directly into rivers, lakes, and other water bodies without treatment, leading to the deterioration of water quality. In addition, chemical fertilizers and pesticides used in agricultural production also enter water bodies through runoff and other means, further exacerbating water pollution. Besides water pollution, long-term metal smelting and mining activities have also led to severe soil pollution in Peru. Heavy metals accumulate in the soil and may enter the human body through the food chain, causing harm to human health. Worse still, such rampant illegal mining in the massive mining industry has not benefited Peru's economy because illegal miners never pay taxes while formal mining channels are controlled by North America. Malicious acquisitions by international giants further complicate the issue. Therefore, Peru's economic problems are extremely severe. Severe economic problems have led to a decline in Peru's governance capabilities, making it unable to combat increasingly severe natural disasters. Take infectious diseases as an example. In April 2024, the Peruvian Minister of Health reported to the president that in the first 4 months of the year, Peru had recorded 120 deaths from dengue fever, with a total of over 117,000 reported cases. Worse still, after this, Peru will also face an unprecedented El Niño disaster. With environmental pollution compounded by natural and man-made disasters, the dark days for Peruvians seem never-ending. Our data shows 98% of you guys watching are not subscribed. Please, folks, take just 1 second to push on subscribe and support us just. Thank you so much. Let me wait for a second for you to subscribe. We will bring you more well-researched content. Please like and remember to share the video. Okay, let's move on. Ninth place, Mongolia. Mongolia is a country that is flanked by two major powers, a landlocked country in Asia, and also one of the countries with the worst environment in Asia. Although it is famous for its vast grasslands, if you actually go to Mongolia, you won't see scenes like the wind blowing over the grass and revealing cattle and sheep. Most of the time, you can only see sparse grass in Mongolia, desertified land and rivers polluted by mining. Every spring, the cold air from Siberia will directly turn Mongolia into a paradise for wind disasters. The sky-darkening yellow dust storms will sweep over everything in the grasslands and cities, further damaging the land without plant protection. Logically speaking, Mongolia has vast territory, a favorable diplomatic environment, and a sparse population. It should be a paradise on Earth. However, the reality is not like this. In recent years, Mongolia has been facing increasingly severe environmental issues, especially soil desertification. This not only threatens its domestic, economic, and social development, but also directly affects the quality of life of residents in neighboring border areas. Mongolia is one of the countries most severely affected by desertification in the world. Over 70% of its territory is facing varying degrees of desertification. This is, of course, related to its national climate. Firstly, Mongolia has low and unevenly distributed precipitation. Most areas receive less than 300 millimeters of rainfall annually. Secondly, Mongolia is located in high latitude and plateau regions. High latitude means long and cold winters. High altitude means that even if there is precipitation, it will flow elsewhere due to gravitational effects. The surface has difficulty retaining moisture, but the natural environment is not the reason why Mongolians have managed the country into the largest desertified country in Asia. Because regions with similar or even worse geographical conditions than Mongolia, such as Inner Mongolia in China and Siberia in Russia, have not experienced this situation. The primary factor leading to this issue in Mongolia actually comes from the Mongolians themselves. Firstly, animal husbandry is an important industry in Mongolia, but overgrazing has led to severe pasture degradation. According to data from the United Nations Development Program, by 2019, the total number of livestock in Mongolia had reached 70.9 million. This exceeds the total carrying capacity of the pastures by 33 million. In different regions, the number of grazing livestock has reached 2 to 5 times the carrying capacity of the pasture environment. This kind of overgrazing destroys the grassland vegetation, reduces the soil's coverage and retention capacity, and intensifies wind and water erosion. Besides, Mongolia's mining industry is also a major fundamental factor in environmental destruction. Its mineral resources, such as copper, coal, and iron, are extremely abundant. However, unregulated and illegal mining is rampant. These activities not only consume a large amount of water resources, but also destroy surface vegetation and soil structure. Waste rock, produced during the mining process, waste residue, and wastewater, if not properly treated, will further pollute and damage the land. And Mongolia naturally has no effective way to properly handle this. Wastewater and waste residue can only be randomly piled and discharged. Facing increasingly severe pollution, Mongolia doesn't seem too keen on solving these problems. After all, Mongolians with some money will go to Korea, and the country's economic pillars, apart from herding and mining, have nothing else. If forced to rectify, Mongolia might have to rely entirely on hosting Korean tourists and clients to survive. Dirtiness is usually closely linked to poverty. As long as there is some money and the infrastructure is decent, no one would live such particularly dirty lives. Kenya is a typical example of a country that has become dirty due to poverty. Kenya has a large number of slums. The largest here is the Kibera slum. It can be traced back to the 19th century. Now, this place accommodates 2 million people. These areas, due to historical reasons and socioeconomic constraints, often lack basic public facilities. There is no clean water source, no hospitals here, no toilets, no garbage dumps. Feces and garbage are casually piled up by the roadside. Sometimes there are even a few human or animal corpses buried within these nauseating piles of garbage, forming continuously expanding sources of pollution. Here, 50 families share one public toilet. This is already an extremely luxurious public facility. Due to the extreme scarcity of public toilets, many residents can only use plastic bags and other simple tools to solve their excretion problems. Then they casually discard this garbage, forming what is known as flying toilets. This not only severely pollutes the environment, but also increases the risk of disease transmission. Due to the lack of proper water facilities, there are no taps at all in the slums. Bathing and other cleaning activities can only be done when it rains heavily, using rainwater. At the same time, rainwater is not only used for bathing, but also to meet daily water needs, and these water sources are often polluted. Meanwhile, due to the lack of a drainage system, rainwater and sewage cannot be drained in time, leading to severe water accumulation, which easily breeds mosquitoes and bacteria. Many deadly infectious diseases spread through the sewage, wantonly claiming lives. And the poor Kenyans are helpless against this. If you go to Kenya, your guide will most likely tell you not to wear very nice clothes. If you have skin allergies, make sure to protect your skin, because in Kenyan cities, a random gust of wind can bring the stench of bacteria and garbage. This kind of pollution attack is almost unseen in other places in the world. Although Kenya's pollution is so terrible, in fact, Kenya's natural environment is extremely superior. It can be called the paradise of Africa. The main reason for this situation is still due to Kenya's poverty. Since the 19th century, this place has been under British and French colonial rule, making it difficult to develop. After independence, continuous conflicts due to the aftermath of the Cold War and continuous wars have made it impossible to develop education here. Without education, there is no foundation for any modern society. So Kenya has been in this vicious cycle. Until today, Chad is an African country. It is also a resource exporting country. Its oil, natron, gold, and other mineral reserves are abundant. The export prospects are also good. However, due to the lack of modern extraction technology and the serious issue of illegal mining and smuggling, this unique natural resource has become a source of pollution for Chad. Although Chad's level of industrialization is relatively low, with the extraction and processing of resources like oil, industrial emissions have gradually become a major source of air pollution. These pollution sources directly affect Chad's water sources and consequently damage local agricultural production, making the entire country more dependent on resources. But the extractable resources will further pollute the country, thus tying it to the chariot of high pollution industries, unable to stop. During the oil extraction process, if not handled properly, it can easily cause water pollution. Chad's water resources are already scarce, and due to industrial emissions, agricultural non-point source pollution, and factors such as the direct discharge of untreated domestic sewage, have led to severe water source pollution problems, especially in the areas surrounding Lake Chad. Due to overdevelopment and pollution, the water quality has deteriorated sharply, threatening the safety of drinking water for residents and the health of the ecosystem. Additionally, during the extraction and transportation of oil, leakage incidents can severely pollute the soil. Chad's road infrastructure is severely underdeveloped, and public security is concerning. Every year, countless lands are polluted by leaked oil. Worse still, due to scarce rainfall and reasons such as overdevelopment, Chad's desertification problem is becoming increasingly severe. Desertification not only leads to the reduction and degradation of land resources, but also exacerbates sandstorm disasters and ecological environment deterioration. With the worsening of ecological destruction and pollution, Chad's biodiversity is also facing serious threats. The ecological destruction will further exacerbate Chad's decline in agriculture and livestock. In this regard, it cannot be said that the Chadian government is without solutions. But currently, Chad's efforts in environmental management can only be described as a drop in the bucket. As one of the world's wealthiest nations, no one could imagine that it is actually also a country plagued by environmental issues. Saudi Arabia, as an economic powerhouse in the Middle East, has a large number of industrial enterprises and factories. These enterprises produce a large amount of waste gas, wastewater, and solid waste during production. Although Saudi Arabia is keen on management, the regulatory enforcement is not strict enough, and domestic corruption is rampant. Coupled with Saudi Arabia's inherent lack of water resources, further increasing the difficulty of pollution treatment, thus pollution control has been slow to show results. Besides industrial pollution, Saudi Arabia's own environment is also one of the fundamental causes of pollution. Saudi Arabia is located in the Middle East with an arid climate and widespread deserts. This geographical environment makes sandstorms a natural disaster. Sandstorms carry large amounts of dust and harmful substances, which not only harm the human respiratory system, but also cause devastating damage to vegetation. Of course, the above 2 points are not the most fundamental reasons. After all, there are many places in the world with a lot of sandstorms. There are also many places with strong industries. The fundamental cause of pollution in Saudi Arabia is still because of extraction activities and its water scarcity issues. Saudi Arabia is the world's largest oil producer. It has a high dependency on fossil fuels. The extraction, processing, and use of fossil fuels generate a large amount of pollutants. Due to the lack of freshwater resources, Saudi Arabia has also vigorously developed seawater desalination industries to meet domestic freshwater needs. However, seawater desalination is a high energy-consuming industry. It uses a large amount of oil, natural gas, and other fossil fuels to provide energy for desalination, resulting in severe air pollution. It may also discharge high concentrations of brine and industrial wastewater into the ocean, causing damage to the marine ecological environment. In recent years, due to environmental issues, Saudi Arabia has repeatedly faced epic heat waves. Thousands have been hospitalized or even died from heat stroke. In response, the Saudi government can only continuously pour money to solve the problem. Now, Saudi Arabia has proposed a bunch of potential high-tech development solutions to address the issue, and is heavily recruiting foreign technical experts to aid in its development. However, these projects are somewhat overambitious. Whether they can be implemented and improve Saudi Arabia's situation remains to be seen. Nigeria is one of the world's largest oil producers. The country is located in the tropics and has diverse terrain and landscapes, from the Hausa Highlands in the north to the low hills in the south, then to the coastal strip plains. This rich natural landscape is formed by many rivers, with the Niger River and its tributary, the Bonu River, being the main water systems. Nigeria's natural resources are extremely abundant, proven to have commercial mining value. There are as many as 44 types of mineral resources. Among them, oil and natural gas are the most important. Besides oil resources, Nigeria's agriculture is also very developed. Some of the land here is incredibly fertile, and crops can even be harvested 3 times a year. However, with the extraction of oil, this place has become one of the dirtiest and most severely polluted places in the world. Nigeria's oil spill problem has a long history. Since the 1970s, with the increase in oil extraction activities, oil spill incidents have become frequent. According to the Nigerian National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency data, in just the decade from 2011 to 2021, the Niger Delta region experienced 9,870 oil spill incidents, releasing a total of 466,000 barrels of oil. One of the most tragic incidents on record occurred on October 18, 1998, in Jesse Village near Lagos, Nigeria. A serious oil pipeline leak caused an explosion and fire, resulting in 198 deaths. After investigation, it was confirmed that the oil pipeline was deliberately damaged. The victims at the scene were still holding tools for destruction and containers used for stealing oil. This accident not only caused a large number of casualties, but also destroyed thousands of acres of fertile land, once considered a treasure. The damage it caused to the Nigerian people has not been recovered to this day. In 2011, a drilling platform at a Shell oil field experienced a serious oil spill. Approximately 40,000 barrels of oil leaked into the Atlantic Ocean, affecting Bayelsa State in the Niger Delta in Nigeria, impacting 168,000 people across 350 communities. This incident drew widespread international attention and resulted in hefty fines for Shell. However, despite the large fines, the damage caused by the spill remains irreparable. This left the Niger Delta, already affected by previous spills, further devastated. Long-term oil spills have severely impacted Nigeria's environment and have seriously affected the health of its residents. The leaked oil contaminates the soil, water sources, and air, among other environmental elements, leading to ecosystem imbalance and a decline in biodiversity. Most critically, the leaked oil releases toxic substances and carcinogens, gradually eroding the health of Nigerians. According to research, residents of the Niger Delta region have an average life expectancy of only 41 years, which is 10 years lower than the national average. This is closely related to the severe oil pollution in the area. Fourth place, Congo. Congo is a mineral-rich country. It is also an important global mineral resource country, especially rich in reserves of metal minerals such as cobalt. It can be said that some industries would come to a halt without Congo's cobalt. The cobalt would directly stop. However, while the development of the mining industry promotes the economy, it also brings serious pollution to the local environment. The environment in some mining areas has been damaged, with water sources, soil, and air all being polluted to varying degrees. For example, the 2021 Congo-Kasai River pollution incident was caused by an Angolan mining company. It led to the pollution of the Kasai River. This crisis directly affected the river and almost all the residents along its banks. It even caused casualties. However, despite paying such a heavy price, the Congolese people have not gained much benefit from the mining industry. The money earned from selling minerals isn't even enough for them to repair some decent public facilities. Similar to many developing countries, some areas of Congo lack effective garbage collection and disposal systems. Garbage piles up on the streets, breeding diseases and affecting order. Additionally, Congo itself lacks public toilets, so many people relieve themselves directly in the garbage piles. The scene is extremely disgusting, but theoretically, Congo earns over $40 million annually from selling gold alone, which should be enough to improve the condition here. There's no reason why the conditions here can't be improved. But in reality, although Congo has money, a lot of money is also needed to manage the environment because the extraction of cobalt and gold itself causes significant environmental pollution. Additionally, Last century's Belgian and modern French colonization of Congo led to a large amount of minerals and major profits being taken away by big Western companies. The remaining money is either wasted in civil wars or intercepted by local tyrants and compradors. By the time it reaches the legitimate government and the people of Congo, there's hardly anything left in their hands. So, Congo can only continue to guard the garbage mountains day after day and live with the sea of slag and polluted land. Somalia. Everyone knows Somalia has pirates, but what is little known is that Somali pirates actually resort to piracy out of necessity. If Somalia's situation wasn't so dire, the pollution destroyed their livelihood. They were originally just a group of honest fishermen and farmers. Although Somalia's poverty and turmoil stem from civil war, the intensity of the civil war alone could not turn Somalia into a country where fishing and farming are impossible. In fact, the birth of Somali pirates was directly caused by Western countries. In the 1960s, the development of nuclear energy as a new energy source was in full swing. This gave rise to the problem of where to dispose of nuclear waste. The cost of handling nuclear waste is extremely high, and mishandling it can easily lead to accountability. Under heavy pressure, some profit-seeking European energy giants and the mafia secretly took advantage in the 1980s of Somalia's lax maritime policies to dump hundreds of tons of nuclear waste into Somali waters. These nuclear wastes have brought devastating damage to Somalia. Countless fishermen have contracted radiation sickness. The fishing grounds and fields they once relied on for survival have turned into polluted wastelands, with deformed children everywhere. The worst part is, even if the United Nations wants to help the Somali people clean up, they don't know where these nuclear wastes were dumped. What's even worse is, since this incident, major Western companies seem to have seen a low-cost way to dispose of garbage and waste. International commercial ships and fishing boats, when operating in Somali waters, often discharge wastewater, oils, and other harmful substances. These discharges directly disrupt the balance of the marine ecosystem and have completely destroyed Somalia's already limited fisheries. Additionally, some companies or individuals, in order to reduce costs, directly dump waste into the ocean, exacerbating the level of ocean pollution and completely cutting off the livelihoods of Somalis. In utter desperation, this led to Somali fishermen turning to piracy. Second place, India. India claims to be a vibrant and powerful nation and also holds the title of the world's largest democracy. Not everyone acknowledges these grand titles, but another title of India has been almost universally recognized by the whole world: the dirtiest country. India's dirtiness is in all aspects. Before the rise of the internet, many people, especially those from China and Japan, had an inexplicable longing for India. After all, this is the birthplace of Buddhism. But when these people went to India as travelers, they found that it was far from the rumored beauty, nor was it a bustling Buddhist holy site. Instead, it was a place filled with bizarre foods and excrement flowing freely, with a population as crowded as an ant nest. The smell in the air was like a giant public toilet stench. According to World Health Organization data, India is one of the most polluted 10 countries in the world. New Delhi, Kolkata, and Mumbai in India are rated as the most polluted cities in the world. The Ganges and Yamuna rivers in India are among the world's 15 most polluted rivers. India is also ranked among the world's top 10 most in the list of places needing clean water. These lists somewhat look down on developing countries. They seem biased against Asian countries. But in their evaluation of India, they are indeed quite objective. You should know that out of 250 million households, only 46.9% have their own toilets. at least 600 million Indians do not have toilets. They rely on rivers and garbage dumps and defecate by the roadside to solve the problem. In the poorest Indian slums, this makes the background music fast, rapid beats.